G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now today I'm going to be discussing Cliff Richard's latest book, A Head Full of Music, the soundtrack to my life. Now this book was gifted to me at Christmas time because I'm a big music fan and I've always found Cliff Richard fascinating. He's now 83 years of age. He is still going strong. He did some concerts at the end of 2023, which, I've heard were amazing. So he still really brings it. And guys, he's always a great interview subject. And I've just started reading this book. And Cliff always comes across as a guy that is full of zest for life and he is passionate about music. And really the enthusiasm spills off the pages here. And guys, this book is a great read if you're a music fan. It's essentially a book about Cliff's favourite artists and their amazing songs that have heavily influenced Cliff's life and career. So today we're going to do a bit of a walkthrough of Cliff's latest book, A Head Full of Music. And if you're wondering what that title's all about, well guys, that's actually a lyric, A Head Full of Music, from a very famous Cliff Richard song. Yes, it's from Wide for Sound, guys. And I think it's a really fitting title for this fabulous book. So come with me and let's do a walkthrough. So this is the cover of Cliff Richard, A Head Full of Music, the soundtrack to my life. And we've got a great shot of Cliff on the front. I mean, really, this guy is kind of ageless. He still looks great. I mean, 83 years of age. And if I flip it over here, it's nicely written on the spine there. It has that little music note on the eye, which is fantastic. And if we look at the back here, we have a nice silhouette image of Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, at his peak in 1956, I would say that photo's from. And we've got a great quote here on the back, and it says, "Boom, along came Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard and Buddy Holly. It felt like the world had changed overnight. Being alive, being young at that time, meant you knew that you were in at the start of something truly special, of something being born, and I knew I had to be part of it." Well, that really sums up what Cliff thinks about rock and roll at its infancy, and Elvis really shaped, Cliff Richard's early career. So let's take a look here, guys, and as I said, I have read a couple of chapters and Cliff's enthusiasm just spills off the page. Contents here, and it basically walks you through all the songs that have influenced Cliff over the years, and there's just so many great songs. And he really goes into the intricacies of these songs. And there's a foreword here. I've read this by Bob Stanley. And the introduction by Cliff is just great. And I will flick through that. And we move along to the first chapter, which amazingly is about Sammy Davis Jr. When Cliff first heard that song, it really left an impact. It says here, "A tune from before I'd even heard of rock and roll." So you get these great quotes by Cliff throughout the book, highlighted at the top of the chapters. And this is a fantastic chapter. Chapter 2 I read the other day, which is the one on Heartbreak Hotel and Elvis Presley. I mean, that song, when Cliff heard it, it just blew his mind. And the story that he tells about hearing it for the first time is simply fantastic. So guys, as you look through here, I mean, Blue Suede Shoes is in here. There's plenty of, fantastic songs that shaped rock and roll and then later pop music. But there's some marvellous photos in here. That's a great shot of Sammy Davis Jr. You've got Elvis Presley there. The first album that Cliff ever bought. We all know the cover of that remarkable Elvis album. And there's other people here like Carl Perkins. And that's the $1 Million Quartet there, which is Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins and Elvis. Little Richard, of course. Cliff's a big fan of his track Lucille. We've also got Chuck Berry there. I mean, these are all the artists that inspired inspired Cliff. And we've got Bill Haley, we've got the late Eddie Cochran, and man, look at this guy here, Jerry Lee Lewis, the Killer on piano, and of course we have a very young Ricky Nelson. So guys, the photo supplement in this book is simply spectacular, and there is Cliff with the shadows, kind of, hamming it up, trying to be a real rock and roller when rock and roll was young in the late 50s there. And we've got Cliff again here. He's actually singing on the Oh Boy show with Marty Wilde. He was a British rock and roller in those days. And man, there's just some great photos here. Buddy Holly's there. And man, there's Cliff again with the Everly Brothers, and weren't they a great rock pop duo? There's the Everlys again. So guys, I'll just flick through a little bit further, and there is another, I think, photo supplement here, and we'll take a look at that, shall we? And we've got this guy here, and he's Clyde McFatter, and he is from a group called The Drifters, and Cliff has him highlighted there. And we've got a promo poster for the biggest show of stars in 1960, and Frankie Avalon is headlining, and Clyde McFatter is also on the bill. We have Bobby Rydell, and of course, look down the bottom there, England's #1 singing sensation, Cliff Richards. They've actually put an S on Richard, so they they got the poster wrong. I find that amusing, with the S on Richard to make it Richards, and that's a great little tidbit to put inside this book. And we've got Sammy Turner here, we've got Bobby Rydell, we've got the great Sam Cooke. I love some of his songs. And we've got this lass here, Ronnie Scott, and we've also got Hank Marvin, the leader of the Shadows, Bruce Welch, Brian Bennett, etc. And we've got the Beatles. I mean, they left an impact on everyone, didn't they? And Cliff and the Shadows were just before the Beatles. The Beatles kind of took it to another level, and that's a great shot of Cliff there and Cilla Black. And we've got these guys here, a soul band called The Impressions. They definitely left an impression on Cliff. And we've got Cliff again here. We've got an album cover for one of his great songs. In fact, it was one of his biggest hits, We Don't Talk Anymore. And we've got a shot of one of Cliff's friends here, Elton John. He was actually influential on Cliff's career as well in some ways. He released some of Cliff's songs in America. Elton had a say in that. And we've got the Bee Gees here, and guys, we've got a great shot of Cliff and Olivia Newton-John, and we've got Aretha Franklin, and we've also got a shot here of Cliff with the talented Sheila Walsh in 1984. So this book has some great photos in it. I mean, from what I've read so far, it is fantastic. And if you're a music lover and you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of what Cliff Richard is all about in music terms, this explores all of his influences. So definitely check out A Head Full of Music. So there we have it, Cliff Richard, A Head Full of Music, the soundtrack to my life. And if you're a music fan like me, you will find this book simply exhilarating. Cliff is really passionate when he talks about music, and it just, as I said earlier, flows off the page. You really get swept up in this, and I can't wait to read more of this book. It really is a great read, and you get to explore a little bit about all of these fantastic artists over the years. In fact, what you might want to do is you might want to reflect on some of these songs and make somewhat of a Cliff Richard playlist of all of his influences, and if you can soak that up and take that in, I think you'll really get what this book is all about. So I would highly recommend Cliff Richard, A Head Full of Music. I can't wait to read the rest of it. And tell me, guys, in the comments below, are you a Cliff Richard fan? Tell me, do you have this book? And guys, please stay tuned to the 80s show, because I have a lot more coming your way. In fact, I'm going to be doing a very special video which takes a look at Cliff Richard's top 10 Elvis Presley songs. They're his favourites of all time. And guys, I will be doing that episode very soon. So if you want to find out what Cliff really thinks are his favourite Elvis songs, well, you will find out in an upcoming episode. It should be great. And guys, as always, please like, comment and subscribe, and keep watching the 80s show, because you will never know what is going to pop up next, just like this Cliff book. So until next time, guys, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and just as dapper as Harry Roger Webb. Sorry, Cliff. Please subscribe and good night, viewers.